This video is an excerpt from our new electrical modeling course for Revit. It is part of our new MEP series for Revit, which includes content about mechanical, plumbing, and electrical, all using the same multifamily housing Revit project. The instructor is Jon Chan, an electrical engineer, a Revit expert, and a co-founder at RevX. The full course explores circuiting, receptacles, lighting, wiring, cable trays, and more. It also includes a Revit sample file and template with powerful electrical families to complete the modeling. Get the full course at bimpira.com/MEP.
So now that we're ready to start putting electrical stuff in the model, let's go over the interface real quick. So obviously there's a whole bunch of stuff up here. I'm just going to focus on electrical, and that is in the Systems tab. So under Systems, if we go all the way over here to the left, you can see that it's going to start with wire, and then we got cable tray, conduit, paralleling conduits. There's a couple fittings in here, and then we got the families themselves. So majority of the large equipment like panels and transfer switches and generators and transformers, they're all going to be in electrical equipment. Then the smaller stuff like devices are going to be under here. So you have your electrical fixture, which is usually your receptacle, junction boxes, and disconnect switches and whatnot. That's going to be in here. We got communication devices, intercom systems, and mostly my communication is just limited to data. So here's all your data connections. You got fire alarm, lighting switches, which I find it oddly misnamed because here you have lighting fixture up here, but then here it just says lighting, but the picture says a switch, and this is actually the controls. So this is lighting controls, nurse call, security devices, and a telephone jack. Light fixture is kind of its own thing hanging out here. So those are your three things that you're going to be clicking on the most. And if I hover my mouse over it, you'll see that I've reprogrammed the hotkeys to be like all left-hand based. That way I don't have to jump across my keyboard to find everything. So electrical equipment is just, EEE. But then if I want electrical fixture, it's just EE space. And yeah, that helps me move pretty quickly through my modeling. Let's start with the panel board. The panel board, kind of like your central hub for everything to connect to. This is where your panel schedule is made. This is where, everything ties into. So let's go ahead and look for a good spot to put a panel. So I'm going to assume this is like a 1-bedroom suite. You don't want to put it in the bathroom. You don't want to put it in a confined space, typically not in a closet anywhere. So we're going to pick, if this is an elevator, that's probably CMU. So you probably don't want to put it on this wall. So let's pick this piece, this section of wall right here. It's actually not a bad spot because I think most apartments that I've lived in, we always had our panel board somewhere near the front. So like if something were to go amiss and you're running out, you can turn off breakers if you have an electrical fire going on. But yeah, let's put a panel here. So to do that, we can click on electrical equipment or just press EEE. Okay. So now it's going to let me place a panel board. These panel boards are, we call them, universal hosted or unhosted panel boards. If you download some from Autodesk, they probably will be face-based. So face-based, like you're forced to pick a wall. They're nice if you actually have walls to host to, but let's say you had a CAD background in Revit. It's annoying because you have to draw a reference plane to place it on. I love the ones that we make. I mean, I'm a little biased, of course, but I believe that the panel boards that I made are pretty useful in that I could literally place them in the middle of the floor or align them to a wall or align them to the back of the wall. So it's just, very flexible. Let me delete this. EE. You'll see that when I kind of press my space key, it pivots around the origin. So I press my space key. Let's put it in the wall. So right here, I'm going to click there and it places it in the wall. You'll see that there's a box out here. This is the clearance area. Typically for 120 volts, you want to keep it 3 feet clear for anything in front of it. So this is perfect. If you needed longer distances for clearance, you can always adjust the clearance depth. Let's say you have a scenario where it's like higher voltage and you got live on both sides and you need 48 inches. All you got to do is just hit that, and then you'll see that it now has a larger clearance. Now we're going to put this back at 3 feet though. And if you don't want to see the clearance at all, you can actually just uncheck this and the clearance just goes away. Let's do a 3D view of this. Just gonna pick this, go click on section box, and I don't really need the upstairs. Let's cut this down here. Perfect. So you know what? Here, I'll even cut it in. There's my panel. This is this is my load center, more or less. I can define the depth of it. Like, obviously, if I make it too deep, it's going to poke through the other side. So this is just a small load center. If you go into edit type, you can pull up the dimensions. If you had like a 6-inch panel, if I hit OK, it pops out of the wall. Let's shove it back in the wall. So easiest thing is just to use the align tool. So I do align, AL, hit the wall with the front of the panel, and you can kind of see it's not really going to work. So I like to make these true to size. So typically like a load center, a small load center, it's not that deep. So we can make it like, I think they're 4 inches. Oh boy, there we go. Make it thinner again. And then I'm just going to align that back with the wall and just make sure that it sticks out. You can adjust the height of this by simply going here to elevation. I mean, you could bring it in at 0 if you wanted to, but we usually do about 4 feet to the bottom of the panel. And yeah, that looks pretty good. All right. So now that we have the panel board in here, let's set it up to be able to receive a circuit from a receptacle. So a couple things. Again, you got to make sure that your MEP electrical settings are set correctly so that your voltage is available. And then I'm going to make this into let's say a 120/240 split phase panel. Over here under select voltage, let's put in 240 volts. And let's see, you're not really going to put load directly into the panel unless you want to cheat it and you just know that, your apartment's going to need like, I don't know, 10,000 VA or something. I generally don't recommend that. You put the loads into the stuff that you attach to the panel. You don't make the panel hold the load. Let's keep going down here. We want to define all of this stuff right here. Okay, so the distribution, you'll have to power it up first to get that. So we can go ahead and hit power. Number of poles is 2, and we're going to do 240. If you don't know how many poles it is, ask the electrical engineer on the project or the utility company. They'll tell you. Voltage is always your line to line. Hit OK. All right, so let me pick the panel. All right, so now that I've powered it up, you'll see that the voltage is now grayed out, so I can't change it. Once you power it up, the voltage and distribution is locked in. The only way to change it is to destroy the voltage. So you have to go back here, click electrical circuits, hit edit circuit, hit remove that piece of equipment from it. And then when you hit finish, it'll always say like your circuit is going to be deleted. So hit OK. I will not save this yet. So once you do that, you can click on the equipment and you see the power button pop back up. That means it's kind of been reset back to the uncircuited phase. Okay. All right. Again, I guess, you know what? Let me just hit undo. I wonder if that will be faster. So after you power it up, you can go up here to distribution system, hit 120/240, and you can do it in 1 or 2 spots. Like up in the ribbon and here, it's the same thing. So I hit 120/240 single. We don't have to worry about the feed through and sub feed through lugs. When it's grayed out, it's kind of like a null state. So it's just leave it as is. Max number of single pole breakers. Let's say this is a load center, so it's probably going to be, I'd say like 24. The mains is actually a weird saying. It's the bus, like the main bus. So your buses for this panel, it's probably going to be like 100 amps. MCB stands for main circuit breaker. And it's got to protect the bus. So it can't be larger than that. So it's 100 amp. Circuit naming and prefixes, I usually just leave that as it is. A short circuit rating. So this one, let's see, if you know what the short circuit CCR, short circuit current rating is, you can enter that in here. So we'll say it's 10,000, and that's about it. All right, so we're going to hit apply. And now this kind of sets the panel all up. Last thing we want to do is create a panel schedule with it. So with the panel selected, hit create panel schedule. And you can hit the default or you can choose a template. The choose a template option just gives you different varieties of it. So MCB is main circuit breaker panel. You can have it with or without a feed through lug. Feed through lug just helps you understand like what's sub-fed from the panel. So you have your main panel, and then you can feed out of the bottom of lugs to another panel. So you want to know the amount of loads coming in from that secondary panel. So this is what the feed through lug is for. Main lug only, if in case you don't have a main circuit breaker, it's just an option to not have a MCB listed, and then MLO with the feed through lug. So I'm just going to stick with MCB. Hit OK, and this is where you start. When you put the spaces in, that's what populates this location. That's why I like it. So let's just say RP306. Perfect. Supply from, we can fill that in by circuiting it to a distribution panel. So I'll do that in a little bit. Mounting, it's very simple. If you click on the panel, there's a little checkbox here for recessed or not recessed. So if I uncheck that and I go here, you can see that now it's surfaced. The only thing is that you kind of have to move this to surface. I didn't really want a graphical thing to tie the two together. It was way more complicated than it needed to be. But anyways, let's put this back into recessed. Here we go. Perfect. And then, enclosure, you can NEMA 1 or something. This is all filled out when you powered up the circuit. And this is everything else that we typed in here. This is your panel schedule. And once we start circuiting things to it, you'll see it all populate in here. If you wanted to just pre-populate it with a bunch of spares, you can. You can select this whole thing and hit assign spare. And the orange color means that it's locked. So you want to unlock it. And what you can do, like some people fill in the whole panel unlocked, but then they like block the last 6 or, the last 20% of the panel. Because typically you like to leave some spares. So you can go in here, lock that. And then when you're circuiting, it'll basically ask you to replace a spare in this panel. And then once everything's used up and the rest of the spares are locked, then it'll just tell you the panel's full. So it's a good way to make sure that you have your spares in your panel. So in the beginning of the project, I typically don't have it in here. I mean, I'll probably leave these at the bottom. Those are nice. Yeah, like this stuff up here, we'll just circuit it as we go. So with that, last thing, maybe we have to, so I renamed the panel up here. It says RP306, right? But you'll see that up here still says DP1. That is the name of the panel schedule as Revit sees it. And this name populates with the name of the panel when the schedule was created. And then when you rename your panel, for some reason, Revit decides not to tie these two together. So you have to manually rename it. So you have to click in here, type in RP306, and hit enter. And there you go. So now you have your panel placed, set up, and your panel schedule ready to go.
To get the rest of the course, go to bimpr.com/MEP.